This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 273 of the Dressage Show on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Benefab, Easy Signs Online, and TotalSaddleFit.com.
This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky.
And this is Philip Parks from Fergus, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show with our very helpful producer, Glenn.
Hi, you guys
Glenn.
Wouldn't be doing a show tonight if it wasn't for me.
I don't
No,
know.
I think this is reminding me of way back in our days when we just started doing the show and we had no idea what we were doing. I feel like that's today.
Well, we have to forgive Philip, though. Did you fly or drive home? You were at Reese's house till this morning, and then you drove home from there and just got in 5 minutes before we started the show. That's a long drive.
And I kept Philip busy. Yeah. It's been
and then it's like, hey, Reese, I'm coming down to hang out with you, and maybe we could just do some fun things and ride some horses. And then I get there, and then she's like, oh, my God, my life is blowing up, and, like, you have to ride all these horses, and can you help me teach? And I'm like, okay, sure. So
He was awesome. We had a big
crazy
time. Yeah,
we had a lot of fun, but it just was not like one of those. And I didn't think that it would be, but it wasn't one of these relaxing kind of hang out with Reese kind of things, which never is if you go to Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then it was just like go, go, go. And then I got in the car this morning at like 6:30, and I just got home just now, and oh my God! And we got to do a radio show. And then,
we should have planned this
help.
better. We should have done this while you were here, Philip. That would have been great. But we did do a show, didn't we, Glenn?
Yeah, we did do a radio.
Thank you very much, guys. They called in on the 6th anniversary show last night and hung out for a little while. That was a lot of fun. We had 30 callers last night by the time we were done.
Awesome.
A lot of guests or a lot of listeners called in for the anniversary show. It's our 6th anniversary. And we're going to put that out on the Dressage feed over the weekend, too. So Dressage listeners, if you're on the app or you're listening through iTunes, you'll get that anniversary show. Will come in and you can take a listen to it. Helena B. and I hosted it. Over 3,500 episodes, 5,000 guests we've interviewed. So it's been a ride, that's for sure, and we've had a lot of fun doing it. And thanks to you guys for being there for the last couple of years and making the Dressage shows so successful. Really appreciate that.
Yeah,
it's been a lot of fun.
It's been a steep learning curve.
Yes.
But it's been fun.
Sometimes we're better than others, for sure.
Yeah, some days are better than others, and today is not maybe one of those good days. But who knows? Sometimes I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a tough show, and then all of a sudden it's great, and we have great guests and stuff. So they help us out a lot.
Speaking of which, who do we have coming up tonight?
Well, we have a really fun show tonight. We have Cesar Torrente, who I actually had the pleasure to scribe with while he was here for the Young Rider Championships. And he is an international FEI judge. And we're going to talk to him a little bit about himself. He's got a great story on what he does. He's a lawyer and he rides and he judges all over the world. He's also going to talk to us a little bit about what the judges are looking for during WEG and kind of the judges' perspective, which Philip and I always talk about. We don't get that enough. So I hope we enjoy that. And we also have our monthly segment with Hillary Moore Hebert, who is contributing editor to Dressage Today. And we always enjoy having her on the show. So we're going to have her on the show as well. So should be a really fun time.
And before we do all that, let's talk about WEG. It is, as we're recording this, is Thursday, Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time are the opening ceremonies. You can watch here in the United States on Universal TV, NBC's Universal Sports Station. They have 14 hours of coverage of the WEG going to be coming to the United States, and you can just DVR it. It's under 2014 Equestrian World or something is how they have it listed. It's something dumb, but you'll be able to find it if you go to Universal Sports Station. We actually get it here in Florida, so I was able to set it for the DVR. I did hear reports this afternoon from some of the press that are there. I just got off the phone with one of them who said that they're getting a sneak peek at the opening ceremonies, and apparently they've spent a lot of money, and it's going to be high tech. So it should be interesting to hear what happens there and to watch it. Of course, the FEI TV, if you don't get it, spend the $15 because they're guaranteeing to show every ride of every discipline for the World Equestrian Games. Now, you have to sit in front of your computer to watch it unless you have it hooked up to your TV. But in any case, you'll be able to see the opening ceremonies through FEI TV.
And Glenn, how do you get there? That is more for my own personal knowledge. FEI
I think it's feitv.org. Let me look. feitv.org. Or just Google FEI TV. I'm looking right now.
Great, and you can pay for that subscription.
Yeah, it's $14 a month or $15 a month. So just
Oh, so worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, spend the $15 and you could watch the whole thing, the whole WEG.
Wow,
cool.
That's super cool.
Now dressage comes up on Monday. It starts. We have the team and individual Grand Prix sessions 1 and 2. Then on to Tuesday, you have the team and individual Grand Prix sessions 3 and 4. Then it goes on to the individual Grand Prix special. Then Thursday's a rest day, and then the final day is the individual freestyle on Friday. You guys are off your normal week off next week, so what's going to happen is we are going to have some reports live from the WEG, and we have some reporters checking in that are going to give us some reports next Thursday about the first 3 days of competition. And we're also going to be checking in with the para riders and how they're doing because they compete at the same time. So we'll be checking in on both of those for next week's show.
Excellent. Well, I think we are all just looking forward to it. It's such a great opportunity, and I have a unique perspective because it was here in our backyards last 4 years ago, which I can't believe it was 4 years ago, and I had the wonderful opportunity of walking in the opening ceremonies and being a part of that for Argentina. So it's really a wonderful, magical time and a lot of fun, and I am just looking forward to watching it and.
Well, guys, for those that don't follow the WEG really closely, and there are those out there that don't, who's on the American and Canadian teams? Who do we have?
Well, I guess we can start with Team USA. The first rider we can bring up is Laura Graves. She's a newcomer to the team and a newcomer to kind of the Grand Prix circuit altogether, but she's been placing really well in the U.S. and then now in Europe before they've done some competition to get them ready for the WEG, and so that's pretty exciting for her to have a newbie. And Stefan Peters, who is I think probably the most seasoned veteran of the U.S. team. He actually medaled in WEG in Kentucky there last time.
He got a silver.
Freestyle,
Yeah,
freestyle
right.
bronze
That's
medal.
Right.
Pretty exciting.
Bronze. You're right. Yep.
That's
You're
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and so I think he's going to be kind of the anchor for the team. Tina Kanyat, which is also kind of a veteran team rider. She's been on the Olympic team and the
And
WEG
she rode
team.
here. Yeah, she rode here in Kentucky.
Yeah, she rode at the last WEG.
On Collecto, yeah.
And I think the same horse, which is
Really
a little bit rare in our sport to have a horse that's been competing for quite some time at top sport and continuing to do so and doing really well. So that's exciting. And then the last rider here, also a bit of a newcomer, not as seasoned as the other two we just talked about, Adrienne Lyle and her horse Wizard, who have been competing at Grand Prix for some time, but
also competed at the Olympics. Adrienne competed at the Olympics as well. So
kind of an exciting team, and we'll see how everybody does with newcomers and veterans, and should be fun.
Yeah, this is a good team.
Yeah.
And the Canadians.
And the Canadians, here we go. We got Megan Lane, who is, I think, 23 years old.
She's pretty young.
Yeah, she's very young. Yeah, she's very young. But she's been riding that mare. I know she rode here for the CDI as a young rider because my student competed against her.
Yeah, she brought this horse along kind of herself and is now in the Grand Prix and has made the Canadian team. So that's a great success story in a combination of horse and rider.
Can I make a comment on her?
Sure.
They on the FEI website at Normandy2014.com or at the WEG website, they have a bio on all the riders and they have pictures. Yeah. Hers looks like a mugshot. She looks like she's about ready to burst into tears. It's the saddest picture. She looks so unhappy.
We'll have to get her on and see,
Smile next
I
time,
think she's
Megan.
not unhappy.
Smile.
I don't think she's unhappy. So
I think she's pretty happy. I may have to, if I ever get in that position, she does actually. I just pulled it up. And
She looks like a mugshot.
Does
I
kind
think
of
it's
have
a little
mugshot.
bit like the DMV.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. It
It's
might
hard
be
to
her
get a very
DMV
good
shot,
one, isn't it?
actually.
Well, if I
think
ever
it is.
get on the WEG or Olympic team, I will be like the glamour shot in the booth. I'll be like, whoa, wait, I gotta make sure.
Hair.
I don't
Hair
think
and makeup,
you get to
please.
choose your photo.
Oh, I would work it. I would work the system a little. I'd be like, I cannot have it look like that.
Yeah.
But she does look. It's a DMV type shot for sure.
Yeah, it is.
She's awesome.
And she's pretty. If she
she's
smiled, it would have been much
gorgeous.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
An adorable person and brought her horse along and just really what you want to see. She's actually, she was January 1st, 2001. So she's pretty young. And that's the horse. Whoa, sorry, that's not her.
I was going to say, she's really young.
Very young.
Sorry.
Very young.
She's
You look in the wrong
23.
place on the bio.
That was the horse. Yeah, I was looking at that, didn't read the horse, but she's world ranking 62. So she's done quite well on a horse that she brought up herself. So very cool. Wish her luck.
Next up, we got David Marcus. He was on our Olympic team and has been competing this horse Chevrys Capital for a few years, anyways. And so he's kind of been there, done that. He's a little bit of a veteran now. Next up, we got Karen Pavisic. She's actually a West Coast rider, so I haven't seen her competing here in Ontario very often. I think she competes in California normally as well. I think she was in Florida this year. Haven't seen a lot of her, but she's had a few Grand Prix horses and is successful and has been in Europe for some time this summer. And our last rider is Belinda Trussell, kind of a veteran also on our team, has ridden Anton in Europe and
rode Anton in Lexington too, I think.
yeah. I was
Yeah.
just about to say that, but I didn't want to.
Yeah, she did.
Didn't
Yeah.
want to be wrong about this kind of thing. Belinda, she's a wonderful rider. I've seen her ride quite a few horses, and she's been around a while on our circuit here in Ontario. Lives in Ontario as well. So, kind of a great team, and we'll see how they do, and exciting for Canada as well. With these great riders and these fun people, and we wish them well.
Exactly.
Next week.
Yeah, next week. It's
Now,
crazy.
some big news the last 2 days, though.
Tons
Some
of news. It's just-
headline
Yes.
news.
Coming
Lots
and
of
coming.
news.
Totalists. Oh, I was going to cry.
Some injured horses. Yeah.
Oh, we
One
hate
German,
that.
very famous
Ugh.
horse, Totalist, has been pulled from WEG and will not be competing. And pretty sad for Matthias Raff because they've been super successful at Aachen this year, and has just kind of brought the horse back from a previous injury also. And everybody was really looking forward to seeing this horse, and unfortunately will not be competing in WEG this year and helping the Germans win a medal, I'm sure, anyways. But it's too bad. Also,
Yeah.
Glock's Undercover, ridden by Edward Gall, Totalist's previous rider. Everybody has seen them last time at the WEG in Kentucky. He was riding a different horse, Glock's Undercover. Also had to withdraw from an injury, and fortunately, Edward had another horse that he had
Yeah, I was gonna
qualified,
say.
Glock's Voice. So he will be able to still compete on the team, but not with his number one horse. So this is too bad to be hearing all this news right coming up to the show. Everybody was looking forward to seeing these horses head to head. Danielle Heikoop and Ciro were on the Dutch team, and they've been forced to withdraw due to an injury. So that's three big horses on top teams, German, Dutch. They're always going head to head with stuff, and it's awful. It's awful, kind of depressing.
Yeah, that's never fun. So, but we wish them all well, and we are looking forward to hearing all the stories, and we will get some of the riders as they come back. It's been kind of tricky. They're all been in Europe, so it's a little hard for us to get organized with them, but we will get them on their way back and get how their experiences were and what it was like to ride there. So, but we wish them all well for sure.
Okay, you guys, 4 years you need to be on so we can come. Hey, Philip, it'll be right down the street. So you might
Yeah.
as well
Down the
qualify, right? I mean, you're going to be right down the street. You're going to be home team advantage.
Yeah.
And Reese, you got 4 years to get it together. Come on.
We are working very hard at that.
We're trying to get it together. I mean, in different aspects, right?
Exactly. We're working on it. So hopefully in 4
Glenn,
years.
that's a lot of pressure.
I know.
A lot
I
of
know.
pressure, Glenn. Right now, we are just going to enjoy seeing how they do. I have to be honest, it was so wonderful to have WEG here in Kentucky, but I need another 4 years. I was certainly, yeah. Well, it's not going to be another 4 years.
From having
Maybe another
everybody
12 years to recover from the experience. It was quite the experience. Would love to have it again and love to be there as a rider, but wow, it's such a huge undertaking. And I know how the organizers of Normandy are feeling right now. You're so excited the horse is coming, but oh wow, it's a big event. So very, very fun though, and we wish them well on many levels. Right after this commercial break, we will have an interview with Cesar Torrente, and he will give us the judges' perspective from the World Equestrian Games.
Are you tired of treating your horse for soreness? Well, then be proactive. Benefab offers you and your horse a natural remedy to joint and muscle stiffness, inflammation, and circulatory deficiencies. Benefab offers a variety of innovative products, like saddle pads and polo wraps and quarter sheets for your horse, and socks and blankets for you. Simply ride in it or wear it, and feel the difference Benefab's ceramic-infused products make. You can check them out online at benefabproducts.com, or you can call them toll-free at 855-957-8378.
Cesar, welcome to the show this evening.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here with you and with all the audience.
So, Cesar, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I started riding at the age of 12. And in Colombia, we do almost 2 years of just sitting without stirrups and without reins. After that, you're allowed to decide, you have to start learning how to ride a horse for another 2 years. And then after that, you decide if you want to jump or if you want to do dressage. And actually, I started as a jumper.
Okay, so you started as a jumper.
I started as a jumper, but unfortunately, my horse had an injury. And after that injury, the vet said, you cannot jump anymore. And that was the only horse I had. And then the decision was, we're going to have to try to make him a dressage rider.
So you were almost forced to be a dressage rider.
Yes, forced by the problem of a horse.
Yeah.
But after 1 year, I didn't want to go back to jumping, and all I was asking for my family was to get me a better dressage horse, and that's how I started.
Super.
So I started competing nationally, and I had the fortune at that time of when I was around 18 years old, I got my first Grand Prix horse. And it was really exciting because at a very early age, I was able to learn how to do the big movements. And I think we all dressage riders look forward to that. And it's a real pleasure to learn how to do passage and how to do piaffe and how to do pirouettes and how to do changes every side at such an early stage. And I think, like, as it happens with everything, if you learn it when you're young, sort of kind of stays with you, and you can learn it more easily when you're young. So I have to say that I'm really, really thankful for for that opportunity that I had. I really think that was great that I had that chance so early in my life. So with that opportunity, I started competing in the Grand Prix level here in Colombia. Then I went to the university here in Colombia. I kept on riding. And when I finished law school here, I'm a lawyer. That's my profession now. That's what I live from. I went to the United States, actually, to the University of Texas at Austin, where I earned a Master of Laws from UT. And I thought there was going to be like a period of time where I could not ride. But fortunately, too, I met some wonderful people in Austin, Texas. And after a couple of weeks of being there, I got involved with the Austin Dressage community, which at that time, now I'm talking about 1982, was very active. So, very special lady by the name of Barbara Boyd, which was the president of Central Texas Dressage Society, CTDA. And I got involved with horses, so I never stopped riding. And, after that, I returned to Colombia, started my career as a lawyer, and that's when I had the opportunity to go to my first Pan American Games, which were the Pan American Games that were held in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Excellent. When did you change to? How did you? I know you're still an active rider. When did you start your judging career?
I've been judging for many, many years. Actually, my first. This is kind of a nice story. I think all the riders, we complain about the judges, right?
Yes.
So I used to complain a lot too. So I decided that I wanted to learn what the judges were looking for. So when I was 19 years old, I had my first judges course with a very famous judge at that time by the name of Mr. Jaap Pot, who had judged the Olympics and many Europeans. It was like the big figure at that time. And even though I was very young, like the Colombian Federation was very impressed that a guy that was so young was interested in judging. And I kept on doing seminars here and there, but it was only for me. My main focus was to learn what the judges were looking for. I didn't want to be a judge. I wanted
to help you with the riding.
They were looking for.
Yeah.
Yes. And also I wanted to learn the rules, because there was always somebody give me problems with the rules. I said, I have to learn it.
Yeah.
And at that time I already knew I was going to be a lawyer, so I liked the rules, and I liked to know the rules. And I wanted to know if somebody was asking me, you're not allowed to do this, I could say, well, it doesn't say I cannot. Therefore, I can do it, and you cannot force me to do it, to do otherwise, things like that. And after that experience, I think since I was 25 years old, I started judging in Colombia. But always my main focus was sort of to help the federation and to help the shows, but not to become an international judge. That was never on my mind until 4 or 5 years ago that I decided, well, it's time. I think probably in a couple of years I will have to retire from riding. And I love the sport so much that this is a wonderful opportunity for being around horses at the international level and have the possibility to watch the good horses, the good riders, the good riding is what we're we are all looking for. So I said, I'm going to have to keep a balance between my law firm and my judging, but this will keep me with the horses, which is what I like the most.
I think we're all the same way. So, Cesar, we asked you a little bit to talk about, because we're leading up into the WEG. The WEG is next week and we never get the judges' perspective. So what are the judges looking for with the WEG horses next week?
Okay, I think this is going to be a very, very exciting competition. And even though I have heard yesterday and today through media that two very important horses have scratched, and I'm talking about Totilas and Gloxan. I don't know if you've heard the news.
Yeah, that's correct. So we were talking about that earlier today. So yeah, that's
for medical reasons they're withdrawn. But even though we will not have those horses, I think this is a moment in time where we have a group of very, very, very strong horses and very, very good riders. So I think the competition is going to be very, very exciting. Obviously, we were all looking forward to see Totilas and Valegro. You know what happened at the last show where we all wanted to see in Athens, but what happened between Valegro and Totilas. Totilas did a magnificent job, and unfortunately Valegro had some problems. But we were looking forward to see what would happen if Valegro doesn't have problems. And Totilas is also on his best peak possible performance. So we won't be able to see that. We will miss that. But in any case, Germany has a very, very strong team. The Dutch, as usual, will have a very strong team. And the British, coming from winning the gold at the last Olympic Games, have also a very, very important team and very, very good riding. So I think this is going to be an exciting competition. Obviously, and going to your question, to your exact question, what are the judges going to look for in this competition? Well, I think judges will look for the objective of dressage as stated on the FEI rules. And with this, I have to say that all the FEI judges, with no doubt in my mind, are always looking for the objectives that are written under the rules and are always looking for the scale of training, no matter what the level is. But obviously, at the highest level of the world, like the WEG, they will be looking for all the objectives as written down in the FEI rules. And obviously, what I have to say is that the quality of the horses, the quality of the breeding has improved so much that if you compare this WEG with the first WEG, or if you compare, let's say, the last Olympics with the Olympics in California, in Los Angeles, where Rainer Klinke won with Allerich, if you see the videos, you will notice that the horse that won at that time, Allerich, there's no doubt in my mind that does not move, does not have the extravagant movement that the horses nowadays have. So I think the three countries that I have mentioned have very, very good horses, very good riding, and there are also some other European countries with very good horses, some Australian horses, Australian riders with good horses, and obviously the American team will have and will show some impressive results. And we're all looking forward to see Canada as well, with some very good horses. Obviously, obviously the competition is going to be so tough. I was reviewing the other day the results from the last big international competition. And we all know that to get a 70% in the Grand Prix is a big deal, right?
Yes. Very
well,
hard.
in the last international competitions, if you get 70%, you're in place 25.
Yeah, incredible.
So that is incredible. So the quality is getting higher and higher and higher. And I think the other important thing is that the judges are rewarding the quality. The judges are not afraid anymore of giving the high marks when required, to give the 10s. I'd like to make a comment. Like, why do the judges give a 10? And I actually make that question to one of the big 4 or 5-star judges. It's like, when you cannot breathe anymore before you give the mark, that's a 10. Like,
I like it.
That's a good comment.
That's where the 10s come. And believe me, a year ago in Olympia, we were having a judges seminar, and Allegro performed the first day very good. And we were attending this seminar, and the conductor of the seminar was Stephen Clark. And he had, the first day, I think, and she had gotten a tremendous score, a huge score. And he said, I think there is still a lot of room for improvement. Okay? So we go to the next day, and then he was saying, this was excellent, and this was excellent, and this was very good, meaning 10, 10, 9. So at the end, we asked him, do you still think there is room for improvement? And he said, this was close to perfection, and that's when she got her highest score ever at Olympia, record that had only had Totilas 2 years before. So really, we're watching nowadays horses with amazing, elastic, and powerful movements. Very nice Dressage, very nice Piaffe. Some of the Piaffe that we're watching today and the new test have coefficient 2. So when you give 10 for the Piaffe and 10s for transitions, the scores become really, really high. And I think we'll have a very, very exciting competition.
Well, it is going to be such an exciting competition next week. I think all around the world we're going to be watching and watching the judges. Cesar, thank you so much for your time. It's been a fun challenge to have you on the show. You're in Colombia, and Philip is in Canada, and I'm here in Kentucky. So thank you very much for your time and giving us the perspective of a judge. And you truly were I had a wonderful day with you. You're so positive for all the riders and the horses. So I look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Okay, my pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I hope to see you soon.
After this commercial break, we are going to talk with Hillary Moore Hebert for our Dressage Today segment of the month.
This week's spotlight product from EasySignsOnline.com is their outdoor silhouette cutouts. Made from a long-term outdoor durable vinyl aluminum material, these cutouts will outlast the old-style painted wood ones by many, many years. A great way to add an equestrian image to your barn, horse stalls, mailboxes, houses, or campers. Choose from dozens of equestrian or animal graphics online, available in 2 different sizes starting at only $59.95. And remember, free shipping on most orders over $100, all at EasySignsOnline.com. Get your silhouette cutout today.
Well, tonight we have Hillary Moore Hebert, contributing editor of Dressage Today on, and she is our favorite segment of the month. Hillary, how are you today?
I am actually doing fantastic. I had told you guys before about that $1 horse that I'm competing.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I took him out. I won this past weekend. So
And
I'm
rocked
very
it.
happy with him. He just turned 9, but I got it in before his birthday. So I am in a very, very good mood right now.
And you did really well. I saw it on Facebook. Love Facebook for that.
Yeah, going qualified for championships and everything. So I'm very excited. And World Equestrian Games, and the weather is gorgeous. So there's nothing to complain about.
Awesome. Congratulations. I love that story. Every time you tell me about him, I'm like, oh, I'm cheering you on for sure. I know Philip is too.
Thank you.
So Hillary, what do we got for this month?
Okay, so I know a lot of people are either on their sort of final vacation before the fall, or they're at World Equestrian Games if they're incredibly lucky. So I thought it would be fun to go to some things that are on the web this month that will make it a little bit easier for you guys to check out in case you don't have the copy of your September issue with you as you're on the road. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is this incredibly awesome article called Dressage Movements Revealed. And it is an article about how a horse's physiology relates to dressage at every level. And it's Betsy Steiner riding on a horse that has a skeleton and muscles and tendons and ligaments painted on it. And she's doing different movements. And it is, first of all, awesome to look at because it just shows all of these different things that, you know, in terms of extended trot, half pass, you can start to see how the horse is working. But I thought that the point of the article was what I wanted to sort of have for our topic for the evening. And it says in the article, in the journey towards a better partnership, the more we as riders understand how the horse uses his body and what effect the work we are asking of him has on his body, the better we will be in sync with our mounts. So I thought that beginning with sort of this concept of understanding what the horse just looks like from the inside out was a great tip, because I think you really have to understand not only how to do the movements, but how your horse is functioning as they're doing the movements. And I just wanted to hear your thoughts about, you know, just understanding the horse's physiology and maybe some things that some people find surprising as you're teaching them, as you explain certain things about the way a horse works that they're a little bit surprised about.
I just think I have to say that I've seen this not in person, but the skeleton drawn on. There's quite a few demos. You might be able to find them online as well. I think that's such an awesome, helpful tool when they do this, and when you have an instructor or a clinic or something that you go to and watch this, because I mean it's just incredible how you can see their bones and their muscles, you know, how they move and how they're kind of put together. That this can create a lot of light bulb moments for people, trainers as well, and so I think, you know, anytime you get an opportunity to see a demonstration of this, take that opportunity and do it, because it's really awesome, and it can really help, and you know, especially when with the rider on, and especially when they're doing the movements, you can just see how the horse, you know, where they might struggle, or just how everything comes together. That it's just a really great tool and an awesome demonstration, and really fun too. I mean, it's just different to see different perspectives. So, you know, that's great. I think it's a good thing.
Well, and I think just in general, I think we all can use that knowledge. You know, vets and chiropractors, they are constantly learning more about the horses. And I think we as riders and trainers, it's a huge part. You know, why should you not ride your horse in roker or too deep and too round? You know, I think you have to understand how the horse's body works, and it's a continual study. I mean, I didn't go to vet school, so, you know, to be able to read books or watch a horse that you can see the muscles working, I think it's invaluable. And I mean, I can say for myself, I don't take enough time to study that. And I think that we all have to continue to study that, because that is truly why we're doing this. And personal trainers have to do it for people. And I think that it's incredibly important for us to do it as riders and trainers.
Just to kind of get back to your question, Hillary, and, you know, like, where are the light bulb moments a little bit with this thing, is just for me, it really helps to kind of figure out when you've got a horse that has a strain or a sprain or is having trouble with something, that you can kind of think about the anatomy and the way the muscles are put together a little bit, and you can kind of use that to help you figure out, where the problem might be, and it just gives a really good idea of like, when we talk about connection in riding and where that connection relates back to the muscles and the bones and where, maybe you have a little bit of a lameness or a horse has a little bit of a sore back, and how that comes, from different places in the horse's body, and, something in the back connects a little bit to the hocks, or if you have a little bit of soreness in the hocks, how it can show up a little bit in the neck. So I think that's really cool, because when it all works well, it feels good and you have good bend, and but sometimes when there's a problem, you've got to try and figure it out. And so, kind of like Reese said, the veterinarians and chiropractors and things can do that a lot more easily because they understand the anatomy so well that if we educate ourselves, and we can help to figure out those problems as well. So that was my 2 cents about that.
Yeah, and I think if there's one tip that I could give to everyone is, at the very least, auditing the USDS-L program, because I learned so much about physiology in the A, B, and C section of that. Just stuff as simple as, that feeling that people were talking about for a long time, that all of the reason that a horse was sort of up in front was because they were sitting behind and it was a seesaw. And to get to the L program and have them say, it's a lot in their chest and abdominals and the thoracic sling lifting things up, that it's not just the hind end sitting, but what's coming up underneath you in front is what's lifting up. It's like I had this sort of aha moment, and a lot of stuff made sense to me. And, I think that it's a lot of things like that. If you don't pay attention to it, you can kind of just listen to trainers forever until you understand the why, and then that's where it finally clicks.
Hillary, what's our next topic?
Okay, so on the same lines of spectating, Adrienne Lyle, one of our team riders, blogs for Dressage Today, and she had a really helpful tip that I think a lot of us do, but she said that during the week that she's training, getting ready for the next show, that she spends time watching videos of her rides from the show, going over the comments from her tests, and coming up with a plan of what she wants to improve in the future, so that she can get back to work with purpose, preparing with a clear plan of what she wants to work on, so that she's spending every single minute of her schooling time well spent. And so she's saying, at this point, once you know your job, it's up to you to look at your test and say, how can I make a 7, a 7.5, a 7.5 become an 8? And it's the little things that making sure you know exactly where and how you want to prepare for each movement, and figuring out where you can push for a little more and where you need to stay safe, that really can make the difference. And I thought it was, very worthwhile, because we're kind of starting from the inside out, dissecting how the horse is moving, and now pulling away a little bit and seeing how that translates to the actual success, whether it's in a test or, just videotaping at home. But I think that tip of looking at videotapes of your rides is really helpful.
Yeah, and I think that it's critical. I think, I sometimes hate to watch myself ride. I'm like, oh, look, ooh, that's not good.
I really hate it.
Yeah.
I really hate it. And dressage people in general, just to make a generalization, are pretty critical and tough on themselves.
Yeah, I hate it. But
so there you go.
You have to do it. You have to look at it. You have to sit down. Well, we do a couple things, and I find it really helpful for all my students. Right after the ride, even if it's like we're all trying to get ready to go or whatever, we sit down for 5 minutes and we look at the test while it's fresh. And this is before you even look at the video, so I'm taking it even another step, and to sit down and say, okay, you got a 7 on that entry. Why wasn't it an 8? and just being very critical as you go down that test on how you need to get the score. How can you make those scores better? Why was that a 5? Why was it a 7, not an 8? So why wasn't it a 9? So I think even stopping, we pay a lot of money to get for 10 minutes in the ring. And I think you need to stop and say, how did my warm up work? How was my preparation? It's really important to do that wrap up when it's fresh, and then take it to your next lesson with your trainer and say, okay, this is what happened at the horse show. If they weren't able to be there, or if they were there, like, how can we do things better? I certainly try to do that with all my students in my head. Like, did I like the warm up? Was it enough time? Did it work well? How we got the horse in the ring? How was the test? How was outside the ring? So I think it's important not only to watch videos, I think that's critical, but even to go back and really go piece by piece on how the ride went and how you can make it better, because it can always be better. So that's what we do. And I think all my students have found it really helpful. So.
Yeah, I think you brought up a very good point about getting the most out of your ride. And so if it can be videotaped, that's another tool, another thing that's going to help you. And then Hillary, comparing the video to how it felt, and then right back to the score sheet, and kind of listening to the judges piece by piece, because I think we always get a very good overall, like, how was the test overall? Did I feel in control? And then break it down movement by movement, and seeing how, a lot of the, because dressage is all about the little things, right? So think about it as a whole, and then piece by piece, and definitely, bring that to your next lesson. But Adrian's talking about really taking a self-evaluation and working on the things, and maybe it's something that your trainer has gone over with you before the show, or in the weeks leading up to it, and then you can just say, okay, did I achieve what my trainer's been talking about, or am I still lacking that? Why am I lacking that? I didn't see if you got the video there, I didn't see what the problem is, or I didn't feel, and then trying to get some clarification on, maybe it's shoulder in or something like that, and you watch the video and you read the test and it's not good enough, and then you gotta break it down and say, well, why really use that stuff as a learning tool, and say, well, what is the real, why am I not getting a good score on that movement? I feel like it's good, and I feel like in my lessons that it's good, and then it still gets a 4.5, 5, 5.5. It can really improve your understanding if you take the feedback and keep working on it, and it's really tough to watch videos. I, like Reese, really don't like it, but you got to do it, and you got to do all these things to really keep improving and keep looking for those 9s and 10s in your scores, because you can get there, and it takes a lot of different tools to get there, and keep your confidence up when you're watching the tests, and I think that's a great tip. So thank you, Hillary. What's next?
Mm-hmm. So Lauren Sammys is doing a step beyond that, and in addition to riding and working with Carl Hester, because she is a very lucky person right now, she's also blogging for us, and she was talking about how if maybe you aren't showing yourself or even have a horse to ride, it's really good to either watch a show or watch people riding on the internet. She was talking about how she went to Hickstead to watch some of the U.S. riders compete, and that she said it was nice to see all the riders, including all the other countries, warming up and working through their own individual issues. And she says that she was glad to be able to attend the show as a spectator, which she rarely has time for, and see the good and bad of all the combinations. And then her tip was, much can be learned from success and not so successful pairs. And I thought that was really good, because I think that we kind of become insulated in how we deal with our own horse. And sometimes it's nice to just, drop it and either go on to the internet and watch some videos, or, if you have some live streaming, or just go to a local schooling show and kind of see how is it that people are doing it. And maybe there's some ideas that you can get from that. And I thought that was a really neat tip.
Oh, I think anytime you can sort of be surrounded by good riders, you're going to learn something. And you may even see good riders have bad rides, or even bad riders on nice horses. And I mean, I think there's so much to going to a big show. We have that opportunity in Wellington, just to fly down and see that horse show in Wellington, or go to Hickstead and sit and watch and go to the warm up and really study what's going on. I think there's a tremendous amount you can learn from it. And we don't take time. There's no way at a horse show at home I can do that. I'm running around, I'm showing, I'm helping people. But to go to a horse show and just sit down and watch and absorb, you learn a lot. So I think she's right. And just looking at horses online and watching horse shows, and we have the USEF network for a good example. FEI has their network, so you can sit and watch, and a lot of times there's commentary, and you can listen to it. So it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think, just bringing it back to what we were talking about watching, if you just watch your own videos all the time, you have no gauge, or you don't set the bar for, how you're riding. And even if you just go to big shows, maybe you're riding first level, second level, and you're immersing yourself in the Grand Prix, that can be tough on the ego as well. You're thinking like, oh, I'm never going to get there, but it's beautiful to watch and it's awesome. So, but I think, going to the national finals and stuff like that, if you're at first level, second level, you want to be watching some second level tests and kind of figuring it out. And that can help you to relate back to your own video and say, oh, well, I really saw how it's supposed to be ridden or not. And this is where I'm at in my training. And maybe I'm doing a really good job with it. Maybe not. Maybe it'll help you figure it out. So it's pretty cool. I watch, especially in the summer, a ton of dressage, at schooling shows and at big shows and professional riders. I just spend all summer at horse shows, and that really helps me to get perspective. And I think if you can get perspective on your own riding through watching other people, that's a great tool and a great tip. So that's pretty awesome.
Well, Hillary, as always, thank you so much for all your tips from dressage today. How can our listeners find you online?
They can check out dressagetoday.com, find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest, and be sure to follow all of the blogs, especially as we get into the World Equestrian Games and a lot of the coverage that we have on the homepage.
Excellent. Well, right after this commercial break, Hillary's going to come back for our Total Saddle Fit Trainer Tip of the Week.
Hi, Fiona Crawford here, and I'm an official Horse Radio Network auditor. I'm a horse photographer based in the UK, and when I'm editing my images, I listen to the vast selection of great programmes provided by the Horse Radio Network. Both informative and really entertaining, I think it's worth a few dollars or pounds of anyone's money. Just go to horseradionetwork.com and click on the banner, and for as little as $1 a month, you too can become an official Horse Radio Network auditor.
This week's dressage training tip is brought to you by Total Saddle Fit, home of the shoulder relief girth at totalsaddlefit.com.
Hillary, welcome back. Thanks for staying on for our trainer tip of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So what's our tip?
Okay, so we had talked about, going and, watching the inside of your horse and going and watching your own rides and watching other people's at shows. But I also wanted to give you guys a tip that it's not from the magazine. It just is a nice summer tip. And what I want everyone to do is to make things simple. So on the days that you're not kind of picking everything apart, and I thought it was funny how we were talking about we hate watching videos of ourselves, is to just go and ride and enjoy the feeling and not have pressure. That's the big thing I've sort of had. I was talking before about having that $1 horse is there's just no expectation, so there's no pressure. You just go out and have fun. You progress at the rate that you are needing to be progressing at, and at the end of the day, you enjoy the sport that all of us, have gotten so involved in and fallen in love with, and, just don't worry about anything. So that's my last tip.
I can tell you, just to add to this point for a quick moment, that what I do for fun when I'm not, really working hard on something is that I always try, on maybe it's a Friday, it's usually on Friday or whatever, where I'm just like, we've worked the horses all week, we've nitpicked on our riding, just like you were saying, how can we enjoy, is that I will maybe ride a test or do some movements from a level, one up from, what I've been working on all week, just to kind of, see how it's going, and just, no pressure on the horse, no pressure on myself. Just, if I've got a third level horse, I'm going to say, today I'm going to try, doing a little pirouette or something like that. Or, if I've got a St. George horse, today I'm going to try doing the 2-time tempies, because, when it comes down to it, it's fun to be riding dressage and doing some of the movements and working your way up and progressing. And so, with zero pressure, whether it's inside the arena or just kind of out on, if I could take the horse out into the field or something, let's work on something new and fun. And, it doesn't matter how it goes, just enjoy dressage. So I think that's an awesome tip. And I really like that Hillary was saying, it doesn't all have to be, nose to the grindstone, hard work, and that we can have fun with it as well. So thank you, Hillary.
I like that. And although I was expecting you to say to do a test a level below, which was
I was too.
No, go up. I only have fun when I'm doing tricks.
It's true.
You can tell Reese and I have some hot weather down here, because I was like, that's a great idea. Let's kick ourselves back to intro A. That sounds like an awesome day.
It's so true. I'm like, okay. We'll just go on a hack. That's what I thought. We were going to yak and hack, which is what we do here. We're like, it's yak and hack day. Let's go outside and play.
Well, I'm just bringing it back to this because we're pretty much done show season. We've done what we can do at the level that we're doing. We're kind of thinking, okay, what's coming up next year? What's our winter plan? What's fun things we can do for the fall? And so that's something that I like to do, when the shows are done and the pressure comes off a little bit. So there you go. I'm glad you brought that up.
We'll report back in December when we're in the same place.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm with you, Hillary. Right now it's like 1,000 degrees. So
yeah. And I have 55 shows left. So
yeah, exactly. Awesome. Well, Hillary, good luck at the shows coming up, and we'll talk to you next month.
Okay. Have a great night, you guys.
You too. Thanks.
This tip was brought to you by Total Saddle Fit, the shoulder relief girth that Reese and Philip both love. And here's why.
The saddle fit solution you have been waiting for is finally here. TotalSaddleFit.com is proud to introduce the shoulder relief girth. This strategically shaped girth actually moves the girth line of your saddle back over 1 inch, thereby freeing your horse's shoulders from the saddle. Traditional girths pull saddles up against a horse's shoulders and often over the top of the shoulders. The shoulder relief girth's recessed ends allow for the billets to buckle into the girth farther back to give your horse unparalleled freedom of motion. We are so certain that your saddle will fit better and your horse will be more comfortable that for a limited time we are offering a 30-day, 110% money-back guarantee. If you are not totally satisfied with your shoulder relief girth, send it back for a full refund plus 10% of the purchase price. Don't wait. Order now for the best saddle fit solution available.
At TotalSaddleFit.com. Visit TotalSaddleFit.com.
Well, that was lots of fun to have Hillary on the show, as always, and I'm glad she was able to stick around for our trainer tip of the week.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, we sometimes have a little bit of trouble coming up with them. I think we've got some emails recently, so we can come up with some answers to those emails, and we just weren't as prepared this week as
It's been a busy
sometimes
week.
we are. It's been busy, but I'm also very glad that she had come up with something for us, and we thank her very much for adding a lot of content to our shows every month. So it's perfect.
We love it. Well, keep the tips and questions flowing on Facebook. We always love to have everybody on the show. So keep in touch with us. And you can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
You can find me at philipparksequestrian.com, and my email is philip@horseradionetwork. And don't forget to check out all the other great shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com. Finally, I'd like to thank our sponsors for allowing us to put on a great show.
Everybody, keep your heels down and your shoulders back, and we'll talk to you next week.